Hello everyone, this is Mario's Lawyer, and today, real quickly, let's just talk about Joy-Cons. I love them. They're fantastic little things. If you use them like this, or even this, when you use them like this, they're okay, but let's be honest, it kind of sucked to be in a situation like this.
Hey, dude. Hey, dude, why don't you answer your front door? I mean, luckily for you, I was still able to get in. Oh, by the way, there's blood everywhere.
Hey, John. Hey, go ahead, take a seat.
Okay.
Anyways, let's go right into it, huh?
Hey, dude, aren't you gonna give me a controller first?
Oh, of course. Sorry, John. Here you go. And, anyways, I will be the wonderful man that I swore an oath to loyally protect. Who will you be?
Dude, is this a joke or something? Because how am I supposed to play Smash with this tiny little thing?
Well, it's what I got. It's what my Switch came with. Why do you ask?
You know what? Forget it. Take your stupid controller. I'm gonna carry my boy Cynical Clash in Fortnite.
No, wait, come on,
Forget
on,
it,
John.
see ya.
Fortnite. Ooh, that kind of hurt. But it still leaves me to wonder, though, did Nintendo ever make another controller for the Nintendo Switch? One less childish than the Joy-Cons? I'm just gonna look right now. Because that can't actually be the only one, right? Huh? Cue the dramatic music. I'm going to Target. I got it. I finally got it. Alright. Whew. How much was it again? $70. It's a lot for a controller, I'll tell you that. Let's take a look at it. I mean, it looks really nice, but is it really worth that much? Let's find out. But before we do, how come I needed an alternate controller to get the full Nintendo Switch experience in the first place? Shouldn't that be given with the system itself? Allow me to give a little bit of background first. Alright, it's a good bet that most of you have heard this song before. But for those of you who don't know much beyond the meme side of it, it was the theme from the Wii Shop channel on Nintendo's Wii console, which, arguably, is where the whole idea of a separate Pro controller began. Up until then, Nintendo's controllers were pretty straightforward. Games were designed around the console's original controller, so playing with the pack-in controller always felt the most natural and satisfying. Yet Nintendo's systems were constantly evolving, and they never wanted two of their systems to be exactly the same, so when they got to the GameCube controller, so now what? Adding any more buttons would make playing a Legend of Zelda game look like operating a power plant. Hey, that sounds like fun. Yet that never stopped Nintendo from trying something new. They tried a very different approach with the Wii, in that they targeted primarily the casual gaming audience with games like Wii Sports and Wii Fit that utilized motion controls much more than buttons. It was also announced that the Wii would be backwards compatible with games from Nintendo's former systems via a digital shop that we now know as the Wii Shop channel. But there was just one problem with that. Remember, we went from this to this. How are you supposed to control games meant for this, when all we have is essentially a high-tech NES controller? To play the classic games, Nintendo presented the Wii Classic Controller and, get this, the Classic Controller Pro, that would plug into your Wii Remote. Sure, these look a lot like 7th generation controllers, and essentially that's what they were. A way of keeping up the classic control scheme while Nintendo was busy with new ideas, longing to continue to revolutionize the way games are played. Later on, the Wii U came out, and while it brought back the classic control layout on the gamepad, it had a giant touchscreen in the middle separating the buttons. And again, if you wanted to play Super Smash Bros. For Wii U with your friends and you didn't have the gamepad, you were still stuck with the Wii remote that basically lacked the buttons you needed. So, you could use the classic controllers from the Wii, or you could use the Wii U Pro Controller, which is basically the same except it was wireless. Then, fast forward to today, where the Nintendo Switch has a Pro Controller as well. And it still doesn't look like the Pro Controller idea. We'll stop here. Now you know the general purpose of the Pro Controller, so think of the Joy-Cons as the Wii remotes, if you will, of the Nintendo Switch. As I said before, they're great. They've got advanced motion controls, they slide right onto the Switch to charge, even if you're on the go, but the thing is, they, like the Wii remotes, also have one major inconvenience. They're tiny, but they have to be. They've been majorly scaled down in order to fit onto the Switch tablet and look like they belong there. As such, the buttons have been scaled down as well. While this is certainly appreciated so the system is easy to take with you, the Joy-Cons don't feel as nice as home console controllers. Enter the Switch Pro Controller. You can use it in all 3 modes of play, TV, tabletop, and handheld mode, but it's unquestionably at its best in TV mode. Just when you look at it and hold it in your hands for the first time, it almost already feels worth the cost. The face of the controller is, interestingly enough, themed to look like the inside of a computer, more or less. In fact, it's even a bit transparent, so if you hold it under a light, you can see the circuit boards inside along with the battery on the back. Moving on to the controls, I'm showing you this image again because its button layout is nearly identical to that of the GameCube controller's layout. Except the A, B, X, and Y buttons are laid out normally, and the capture and home menu buttons from the Joy-Cons have been added. In addition, the Pro Controller also features some tech from the Joy-Cons. It features a gyroscope, so you can tilt the controller to, say, aim your bow in Breath of the Wild. It also features HD Rumble, and even sports an Amiibo NFC touchpoint on the Nintendo Switch logo, so you can tap an Amiibo without needing to connect the right Joy-Con controller. And lastly, of course we can't forget about the all-glorious D-pad. Alright, last thing before we get into whether the Switch Pro Controller is worth it or not. A controller is only as good as the games it plays, so we're going to check out how and if it enhances your Nintendo Switch experience in certain games. Right off the bat, it's not compatible with every Nintendo Switch game, but almost all of them. Really, the only games not supported are the ones that were made mostly just to show off the full capabilities of the Joy-Cons that don't end up getting used normally. Although, I'm not gonna lie, once you start playing with the Pro Controller, it's hard to go back to the Joy-Cons. The stronger analog sticks and bigger buttons make 3D games like Breath of the Wild and Splatoon 2 feel so much better. And you can also use the D-pad for some 2D games. Not that that's how you should play those games, but when you're playing NES games, they just don't feel natural without a D-pad. The Nintendo Switch Pro Controller is an absolute joy to use, and it turned out to be a pretty fancy little thing, too. It's been thought of by many as not only the best controller for the Nintendo Switch, but perhaps the greatest controller Nintendo has ever made. And, after owning one for about 8 months, I'm happy to say that the Pro Controller absolutely lives up to that. Is it worth it? If you own the original Switch, without a doubt. It may be $70, but in new condition, I think it's worth every penny. It's comfortable, sleek, and convenient. In fact, if you tilt the right analog stick all the way down and look inside the Pro Controller, you will see on the circuit board there's even a little thank you message from Nintendo to the fans. How above and beyond is that? On a different note, if you think $70 is too much, you can always find cheaper wireless controllers from third parties that are licensed by Nintendo in stores as well. Some of them have pretty cool designs, and they're a good deal if you don't need HD Rumble or an Amiibo touchpoint. All in all, The original Nintendo Switch Pro Controller is one of the essential accessories for the Nintendo Switch, so if you plan to stick with the original Switch throughout its quite possibly long lifespan, do yourself a favor and pick one of these up. You won't be disappointed. Thank you for watching.